Well, hello everyone, I'm Postmaster Radio and it's time to bring on the funny. You're listening to Ujokes Weekly, the official podcast highlighting Jonathan Mangum's virtual comedy show Ujokes, where comedians compete for the best joke, plus you guys and gals playing along on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. You can have a chance to take the crown of comedy as well. It is literally comedy gold at your fingertips. Now, there was no new Ujokes show yesterday on Monday, May 31st, due to that day being Memorial Day. Ultimately, the next new Ujokes show is coming up on Monday, June 7th at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 Eastern. But until then, we have unfinished business with last week's Ujokes show. Ujokes episode 77 with Kiel Kennedy and Cecily Knobler. So today I'm counting down my top 5 picks from that Ujokes show. Top 5 jokes from that episode. But before we get started, bit of a quick little note in case you missed not only Ujokes episode 77, but also the 2 shows that came before that one with J. Elvis Weinstein, Andy Kindler, David Storrs, and Atsuko Okatsuka. Catch up via the Ujokes YouTube channel or just check out the most recent Ujokes podcast. Link to that in the description. Also, to continuing listeners, if this is not your first time listening to the Ujokes podcast, then thank you so much for coming back. It really means a lot. But if it is your first time listening, any newcomers tuning in today, and you happen to be listening from Apple Podcasts or Podchaser, please leave a rating and review if it is not too much trouble. And of course, don't forget to keep listening after the Ujokes Top 5 countdown for the Ujokes Awards. But now, without further ado, let's get started. Spot number 5 on the countdown goes to Kiel Kennedy for a game called Name the Movie. Based on the picture showing police officers, and one of which is more of like an elephant officer, an elephant in police officer uniform. Based on that pick, you gotta come up with the best, but ultimately funniest movie title imaginable. And Kyle's joke, gotta say not too shabby, Behind Babar's Bars. Oh yeah, Behind Babar's Bars. Well done, Kiel Kennedy. Now at spot number 4 on the countdown, we go to you guys that were playing along live on the YouTube chat. Now, I actually had to watch this show the day after the actual live stream, so even then, I still had a little bit of catching up to do. Gotta say, a couple of good jokes from Team Audience, but the one that lands at spot number 4 on the countdown is for a game called Bumblebrag, based on the insane pick. And keep in mind, Jonathan's producer Josh is the one in charge of these picks. The picture showed a naked man with a lot of bacon. Well, I love the bacon part at least. I mean, those of you that know me know very well that I am a huge bacon fanatic. That being said, much like a burger, this joke really was well done. Jason Matthews from Facebook, I'm really looking forward to meeting you. That was the pun-tastic joke at hand. And it fits really well into the game too, because for Bumblebrag, you have to figure out, were that picture part of somebody's dating profile, what would that dating profile say? So again, great joke from Jason. And fortunately, that does not diminish my love of bacon either. So thank God for that. And now we come to spot number 3 on the countdown. This one is also for Team Audience, going to the last game of the night, Dream Interpretation. Dream Interpretation for the picture of 12 people in Smurf costumes. Based on the Smurf picture, you need to come up with, well, simple enough, really, based on the game title, were that pig to pop up in your dreams, what would that mean? Henceforth, Dream Interpretation. The audience joke from YouTube this time around. Helga. Yes. Blue lives do matter. Not too shabby, Helga. The second spot on the countdown goes to a recently debuted Ujokes game called Jingalong. Jingalong, Jingalong, Jingalong. And this time, the Jingalong product was a cheese printer. Now, whether or not this product is as Gouda as it sounds, yes, pun fully intended, I would not know. But for the game Jingalong, you need to come up with your own jingle. And I will say from now, this game dominates essentially the rest of the countdown thanks to Kiel Kennedy and Cecily Knobler. But for spot number 2, we go to Kiel Kennedy. So, this was his jingle, and I'm actually going to do the singing this time. So, can't wait to see how this goes. But anyway, Kyle's joke. Do dinner right, don't be a sleaze. Print your child's face on Gouda cheese. Cheese printer. Yeah, I gotta give you some props for that one, Kiel Kennedy. And finally, at spawn number 1 on the countdown, I said it already, but again, the Jingalong game, Kiel and Cecily Knobler dominated, but ultimately it was Cecily's joke that won me over with this joke. And, well, once you actually hear it, in case you did miss that Ujokes show, I know Cecily Knobler, Cecily, if you are listening to this podcast, I know you said, you're not that good of a singer, but come on, that can't be true. I mean, that was a really well-sung jingle, and a funny jingle at that. I know for a fact I'm not going to sing nearly as good as Cecily did, but this was her jingle. When you want cheese, quick as a wink, it might taste bad, but it's better than ink. Nah. And I say that including all of the lyrics, including the thing that Cecily did at the end. Better than ink. Nah. That little musical, that thing there. It really added a little bit of extra funny to that joke. So yeah, basically cheese printer with a lot of laughs from Cecily Knobler on the side. And with that being said, folks, that is it for the Ujokes Top 5 Countdown. Now we move on to the Ujokes Awards. Comedian of the Week is the first award, but the thing is, oh dear God, this was a tough decision. Ultimately, Kiel Kennedy made the countdown twice, Cecily Knobler only once, but it was her Jingalong cheese printer joke that took the crown of comedy. But even so, both Kiel and Cecily were really strong players, I thought at least, from last week's Ujokes show. So you know what? I'm going to declare this a draw this time around. But Kiel Kennedy or Cecily Knobler, for any of you listening, who do you think took the crown of comedy? Which of those two comedians do you think won in the end? Let me know on Twitter and Instagram at Postmaster Radio, or comment below if you're listening from YouTube. For Game of the Week, no surprise there, obviously, because I've become such a big fan of this game. Jingalong, 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 jingalong. I never get tired of singing that. Next up, we have the Audience Award. This is for the best joke from the Ujokes audience. Gotta go back to Helga from Dream Interpretation Blue Lives Matter with the Smurf-tastic pick and equally Smurf-tastic joke. Well done, Helga. And congrats on winning this week's Audience Award. Last but not least, of course, we have the Mangum moment. I can't not have an award named after the fabulously funny and amazingly talented Ujokes host, Jonathan Mangum. What is the Mangum moment of the week? Well, it is definitely a bit cheesy, and I should know because it goes back to the Jingalong cheese printer. And, well, joke aside, that is actually a good question. If you were to use the cheese printer to print money, would that make you a counterfeiter? Yeah, another cheesy joke, but still, a funny one of that from Jonathan Mangum. That's why it's this week's Mangum moment. And you know what? That's it for this week's Ujokes Awards. Man, oh man, time flew by a little bit faster this week with the Ujokes podcast. I can't believe it. But a couple of final announcements before we ultimately wrap things up. First, like I said before, the next Ujokes show is coming up on Monday, June 7th at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern Time. Until then, few things you can do. First, in regards to Ujokes as a whole, check out the official Ujokes website, created by Ujokes fanatic Greg in the UK. Just go to ujokes.com. I will also put a link to that website in the description. Also, if like me you missed Kiel and Cecily's Ujokes show, or maybe you were able to watch it live, but maybe you think you had a better joke than some of the people playing along. In either case, go back to that Ujokes show and do what I did, which is type in your own jokes into the YouTube comment section or wherever you prefer to watch Ujokes. Jonathan and his producer Josh will go back and look through all of the jokes, not only from last week's Ujokes show, but also any mini Ujokes challenges that might pop up on Jonathan's Facebook page or the community page of the Ujokes YouTube channel. But in either case, submit jokes for the mini challenges for last week's Ujokes show, and whichever joke is deemed number one, the person that submitted that joke will be invited to make a virtual appearance on the next Ujokes show in the final round and compete against the comedians and team audience as well. So get on that, people. And while you're waiting for the next Ujokes show, again on Monday, June 7th, make sure you check out tomorrow night at 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern, a new episode of the Ujokes sister show, FMK Champs, hosted by College Humor's Carolyn Page. Plus, don't forget, another new show will be coming soon to the Ujokes YouTube channel, High Joke Score, where jokes equal cash. First episode coming your way if all goes to plan on Friday, June 4th. Time of release to be determined. And now that's it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's Ujokes podcast. I hope you had a great time. Make sure you stay connected with moi on Twitter and Instagram at Postmaster Radio. Plus, like, subscribe, rate, comment, and review to stay engaged on Spreaker, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Podchaser. The account links are all in the description. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, well, bye for now. See ya!